Well, we have a panel of expert doctors to make sense of our fight against COVID at this moment. Dr. Shashank Joshi, member of the COVID-19 task force in Maharashtra, joins us. We have Dr. Anurag Mehrotra. He's a coordinator, Public Awareness Forum for Vaccination. He's also the chairman of Sidh Hospital and a member of the COVID task force in Uttar Pradesh. We have Dr. Anita Ramesh Chandra, senior medical oncologist, Apollo Speciality Hospitals, joining us from Chennai. Thank you, doctors, very much for being with us. Dr. Joshi, I'd like to begin by asking you the worrying rise in cases in Maharashtra, over 40,000 cases in just the last 24 hours. Mumbai seeing an unprecedented spike with over 20,000 cases for 2 straight days. A worrying rise in infections in Dharavi as well. How are you anticipating this to play out in the next few weeks?
The rapidity, thank you, Rishika. The rapidity of spread is indeed concerning, but this is anticipated and preparedness is in place. So one thing is very clear cut, that as far as Mumbai is concerned, including from the slums like Dharavi to the high rises, there is no reason to panic, because 80 to 90% of people are asymptomatic or pre-symptomatic. Most people have mild disease, but it is the comorbidities and the people who have immunocompromised states or underlying chronic diseases. They are the most vulnerable and they need to be protected. That's the first thing. Secondly, we have a buffer capacity in our jumbo. We have very large jumbo bed capacities. So therefore, even if a slum like Dharavi is there is a BKC jumbo, which is fully activated almost 2 weeks back. So, there is no need to be alert or concerned. We are not tracking test positivity rate or number of cases as much as we are tracking hospitalizations which need oxygen, hospitalizations which need ventilators,
yes.
And we want to save every life. So,
right.
In the first possible instance, we want to ensure that isolate, get symptomatic treatment if you have mild disease, and if you are in the vulnerable group or in the high risk category, or you need a ability to not have a facility to stay at home, get into a nearby jumbo facility or a hospital setup, and we are fully prepared for the same.
All right, so you're saying that there is no cause for alarm just yet. However, Dr. Mehrotra, if you'd like to come in here, there are many doctors who've actually raised alarm and several red flags over the fact that if you extrapolate the current numbers, into what could perhaps be the situation in the coming few weeks, we would be staring at a situation where once again our hospitals are overburdened. The other factor in this third wave that is burdening hospitals already is the fact that we've had a large number of healthcare workers and frontline workers testing positive for COVID.
That is a very good question. The larger number will get affected, even the fewer percentage will get hospitalized. The absolute number will be very high. So we have to look into that. At the same time, it is very correct as Dr. Joshi has said. This time it is less severe. One more thing we have to keep in mind, we should get the booster dose at earliest for the person for with them it has been recommended, like healthcare workers, like different healthcare providers, and immunocompromised person. One more thing I would like to say is this is the season when the chronic diseases complications also occurs.
Right.
Like strokes, like accelerated hypertension complications, like MI, like acute LVF. So any symptom any patient is having, he or she must consult his doctor what it is. They should not conclude the thing by themselves, because many of them the symptoms of acute LVF initially very, very mild. So if they ignore that and as such they are highly, they come under the persons having comorbid conditions, they need attention. So that aspect should also not be missed.
Dr. Anita Ramesh Chandra, if I can come to you at the moment, this is really crucial for viewers to understand, and we've tried to speak with several expert doctors and also, highlight what are some of the new symptoms, or rather, some of the indicators that people need to be aware of, because one has seen that testing has improved, in the last 1 week, but otherwise overall testing numbers continue to remain low. In the last 24 hours also, we've tested about 15 lakh people. Many experts say that this number needs to be much, much higher. Is a common cold not to be taken as a common cold? Should every individual with a common cold consider themselves COVID positive pending an RT-PCR confirmation?
Yes, just before I get into the question that you asked me, I just want to go through some important point, and it's a published data which I would like to tell you from JAMA, and it reported that at least 41.3% of the COVID patients do require hospital emergency admission with the Omicron variant, which was 68%. So I want to tell everybody that it is not, don't take the Omicron lightly. There is data from all over the country and all over the world. There is admission, and I'm sitting in Apollo. I'm also with Kaveri. Beds are full. There is no bed. People are waiting in the emergency. So yes, admissions are there. Yeah, and if you see when the Delta times 60 to 70% needed oxygen, now 17.6%. The data I'm quoting is published needs oxygen, so 20% of the patient. So yes, it is not mild, it is not asymptomatic, but there is a chunk of patients and that which needs admission. So beds needs to be ready, hospitals are to be ready, oxygen, and don't take it lightly. And we should not say it is mild, asymptomatic, and people are taking for granted they're just moving out like that. So that is one important message, and it's a published data. Now coming to your next question, that yes, if you see the difference between Omicron infection and Delta, and I have the data also in front of me, this Omicron, the people gets infected very fast in a matter of 1 or 2 days, and then they have not very high temperature, malaise, and I have seen many patients are presenting with dizziness, giddiness. But one thing is that no, not much of lung symptoms. That need to do a CT scan is not there. And usually these patients are vaccinated and breakthrough infection. But it is very fast, very fast. You do duty for 2 days and you are infected. Many of the doctors are admitted in all the hospitals which I go, and the situation is becoming really great. And please, 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 it has to be taken with a big alert, and results may be good. But yes, there is admission, there is oxygen requirement, doctors are getting infected, staffs are less in the hospital, and it's a real emergency as on today. And yes, we are in the third wave.
All right. Dr. Joshi, do you want to respond to that? Because this is the biggest fear. Many doctors like Dr. Anita Ramesh Chandra have come here on NDTV and repeatedly said that we need to stop downplaying Omicron as mild. Because as cases rise, the number of hospital admissions will go up. And even now, there are patients who are requiring oxygen. There are patients who are requiring ventilator support. A large percentage may not, but a small percentage of a very large number could also burden the healthcare system.
Shika, that is absolutely true. In South Africa, 3% needed hospitalization. In UK, 6% of the population needed hospitalization. India probably is going the South Africa way. Though the numbers are less, the absolute numbers may be sheerly overwhelming, which is why our hospitals are fully ready. In fact, both private and public sector hospitals of Mumbai are fully ready if any eventuality are there. The main thing, Rishika, here, as Dr. Anita said, is to identify people at risk and stay connected with the medical doctor. The doctor can identify and keep monitoring oxygen saturation with a 6-minute walk test. And if you are desaturating, go to the nearest hospital and get care. Because as you know, as the pandemic progresses, in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll get clear data to understand that these are the desaturating people, these are the ones who are deteriorating. But one thing is clear cut. Let me also stand out here that compared to Delta, as she rightly said, this is more an upper airway disease. The sore throat or the burning throat is the most common symptom with a blocked nose, and this is far. So upper respiratory symptoms overwhelm and lung symptoms are less. That doesn't mean that we ignore the vulnerable, we ignore the immunocompromised, we ignore the unvaccinated, or we ignore the comorbidities. So the risk triage is very important. And also remember, there is going to be also a deluge of pediatric cases who have comorbid conditions, and therefore our whole pediatricians across India are on red alert. Their task forces are in place, and I think we are fully ready for the vulnerables. So the vulnerables definitely cannot take it lightly, but the people between 18 to 59 also should be on the alert. So the minimum people can do is monitor their oxygen saturation and temperature regularly. And most people by day 2, day 3 are there. And as far as healthcare workers and frontline workers, both will have a challenge. It's not just hospital setups, but also our frontline workers. And they are, you can see that they will get infected in clusters and they will recover
which is what is already happening, Dr. Joshi. And that brings me to my next question. You know, doctors like yourselves on the panel will be eligible to get the booster dose from Monday. Have we delayed this? Perhaps a fortnight too late? Dr. Joshi.
So you see, Omicron, independent of boosters and independent of getting COVID in the past, still will happen. Only the disease will be mild. So I don't think it's a precautionary dose. The data science, Indian data science, as well as global data science, is not very robust on this. So I am not so sure, whether it's the right thing science-wise. Science-wise, we don't have robust data to support.
Dr. Mehrotra, do you agree? Do you agree with that assessment that there is no science yet to suggest or advocate for booster doses, and therefore the timing is all right? Do you think we've delayed it perhaps just by a fortnight?
Certainly data is there that if the boosters dose is there, the chances of getting hospitalization severities are less. There are many studies in that. There are many large observation studies on that. And what we are seeing here is the Omicron disease is less severe. But at the same time, the person with comorbid conditions, it is not that like the condition for them. They may get into a very severe problem. The frontline workers also, because they will remain in contact with these patients for long, they must also have booster dose, because we are into the midst of the wave. We can't conclude anything at this moment.
Right.
We conclude the dawn after the event is over. So we must take every precaution so to avoid the things. One more thing I would again like to say, we must not forget the other comorbid, other disease which gives complication at this time. Last time we saw many of the patients having cardiac problems, stroke and other cancer problem, dialysis patients on dialysis were ignored.
Yes.
And the large amount of mortality occurred only because of that.
Yes, I'm going to come to that, because a lot of doctors have also red flagged the fact that you can't take Omicron as being mild, because once again, patients who need regular care in hospitals will suffer at the behest of Omicron. But I want to just ask you, Dr. Mehrotra, here, the other important question, which is the new rules for international travel. All arrivals have been asked to mandatorily home quarantine and then get a test on the 8th day. What's the science behind this?
I don't want to comment on that. As such, there is a community transmission of the problem. So how much that will help us, it is difficult to say.
Dr. Anita Ramesh Chandra, this 7-day mandatory home quarantine for all international arrivals and a test on the 8th day, what's the science behind it?
Yeah, see that I think this has brought to a lot of important discussion. Yes, 7 days. At least let me get back to if you are positive with COVID, and the 5 to 7 days quarantine. I think we have all heard the news yesterday. There was a lot of discussion why WHO and CDC US has only given 7 days. Because you are also, it's actually 5 to 7 days. And at the 5th day, if you stop the quarantine, you are at a risk of increasing their spread to the others. So 5 to 7 days in a positive case is not a sufficient time. And I think it is got for discussion when many places yesterday itself, yes, quarantine time has to increase if you are positive. Otherwise, you will spread the infection.
And also no test now. Dr. Anita Ramesh Chandra, if I can ask you a quick follow-up question. There's no test required now. After 7 days of being asymptomatic and COVID positive, you needn't get a negative report before you can actually, go back to work or resume meeting people or end your quarantine.
Yes, Rasika, it was also there in the end of second wave. We had changed the rules and regulation. We were not repeating the second test again. Okay. In the first wave, yes, we did. Second wave, the numbers were high and the need to check newer cases, yes, we did. But later half of the second wave, I don't think so. We were repeating the test to make him all right and get him to work. Yes, people did on their own to see what is antibody.
But very important that you're actually saying it's important to closely monitor your symptoms, important to consult your healthcare workers, and don't take any guideline as as a rule of thumb or written in stone. You have to consult your doctor in order to better understand your symptoms, your clinical disposition, and on the basis of that, follow whatever advice, medical advice that you're getting. Thank you, doctors, very much for joining us on NDTV. We'll, of course, keep a close watch on the COVID situation in the country.